welcome back everyone to another episode of Figuring Out Epilepsy, where we talk about all things epilepsy plus more. For today's episode, I'm gonna try to explain what it's like to have a seizure, so everyone who's listening who doesn't have seizures, they can kind of get a better understanding of what we go through. Quick disclaimer though, this is what I experienced. There are 40 different types. There are over 40 different types of seizures, and we may not experience the same thing. We may have the same type of seizure, but we may not experience the same thing. Seizures and epilepsy are unique to the person. It's really hard to find someone who feels exactly the same way you do. But for those of us who have epilepsy and in the epilepsy community, we have an understanding because we kind of have an idea of what the other person is going through. But that's my little disclaimer. The purpose of this episode is really just to try to get people to understand what we go through when we do have a seizure. I do have listeners and followers who don't have epilepsy, and I want awareness to be brought into those communities, just because if they have a better understanding of what we go through, then their empathy can grow, and then they'll be willing to share about epilepsy awareness and help us spread awareness. So I'm really trying to get everyone on the same page, epilepsy community and not. So what is it like to have a seizure? It's absolutely terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. I don't think you ever completely get used to having a seizure, because every time I feel like I'm going to have a seizure, I get terrified, and I don't even know what's worse. Being able to identify or have auras, like warning signs that we're going to have a seizure, or just having the seizure, because I do have my warning sign. I do have my auras, and I know when I'm going to have a tonic-clonic seizure. So, but when I start to feel a certain way, I start to get into my head more, and I start to get scared, and I start to just kind of go in an internal panic mode, because I'm like, oh snap, not again. So let me kind of back it up a little bit. The kind of seizures that I have tonic-clonic seizures. I also have, my neurologist calls muscle spasms, but I think they're actually active seizures. I think that's the name of them. Because my eyes will start twitching, and I have when my eyes twitch, if it's bad enough, I'll have like little moments of blackouts where it's like, just like a few seconds, it's like I skipped like a couple seconds of my life, like that part of my life just went blank. I was mid-sentence and I just forgot what I was doing or saying or whatever. It's just my brain just going blank. So I'm trying my best to describe it and kind of get everyone to picture themselves in my shoes and stuff. But yes, I don't like having my seizures in public, and I don't like people seeing when I'm not feeling well, just because I don't want their pity. I don't want them to feel bad for me, and I don't want anything embarrassing to happen. So I get embarrassed and frustrated with myself when I'm about to have a seizure. My family absolutely hates it. I get super, super stubborn and I go in complete denial, and I'm like having a mini breakdown before I have a seizure. Like the first thing that happens is my eyes will start twitching. It just starts twitching. Maybe I don't know if I have a video of myself twitching, but my eyes will start twitching. I will start to feel like my world is ending. I will start to feel so sad. Your emotions get so affected when you are about to have a seizure. So, like, I feel like my world is ending. I feel this complete darkness and this just sense of doom. Like, everything is going to go wrong. And I feel like so sad, and all I want to do is cry, and all I want to do is just have a mental breakdown, because that's literally what it feels like I'm having. It's just a mental breakdown, and I know what it feels like because I've had them before. I've had breakdowns and panic attacks and anxiety attacks, all those things. So I know what it feels like, and it's the exact same feeling. You're having like a mental breakdown of sadness, and you get to a point where you're just like praying to whoever, if whoever you believe in, you're just praying that you don't have the seizure. You don't, it doesn't go that far, that this is the only thing that you're going to feel. And when I am starting to twitch, and when I mean twitching, I mean twitching consistently, because I can switch here and there, like that happens all the time, but twitching consistently where it doesn't stop, that's when I know I'm about to have a seizure. And when that happens, I start to feel like no, I don't cuss, but it's like, honestly, I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to have a seizure, and epilepsy won. I feel like epilepsy wins at that moment, and epilepsy takes over my life again, and I have no say in what I'm doing, what I'm going through. I have It's like you're you have no control. You're trying to just live your life and just do everyday things, but you have no control. You, you, your body's just taken over by your brain's malfunction, and everything gets affected by your emotions, what you do. So when I when I start to twitch, and I start to see my aura, which is like a warning sign. Not everyone gets it. Some of us do. Um, so when I get my auras, it's I feel immediate panic, because I'm just like, please, please don't have a seizure. And I get anxious, and then that anxiety can cause a seizure. So it's like, what do you do? Like, you're about to have a seizure. You feel like you're going to have a seizure. You're panicking because you're about to have a seizure, but like you can't do anything about it. And it's like, I think I think at that moment maybe meditation might help, just to kind of calm down your or prayer, just to calm down all those horrible and negative emotions you're going through, and kind of like reset, and not think like, oh, um I'm about to have a seizure, and just kind of get out of that space. But it's honestly, when you're when you're about to have a seizure, you go in immediate panic mode, and you're just thinking, not again, not again. Like, this can't be happening. And honestly, this is just this is just the beginning of my seizures. This is just the warning sign. And I'm going through all these emotions of doom, of panic, and I honestly don't know whether having auras, you know, or not is better, because when you have an aura, you know you're about to have a seizure, and you start to panic and you start to freak out and you start to stress. And so, but when you don't know that you're about to have a seizure, that can be dangerous, and you can be in a dangerous situation and you can't prepare yourself. You just have it. So it's like, I don't know which would be better or not. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they're both bad. I feel they're both bad, and they're both absolutely terrifying in their own ways. And um I my auras like really hits me emotionally. I feel like I lost again, and epilepsy is just ruining my life. Basically, that's the feelings that I get. I get this sense of doom, and just like I have, like, I'm losing at life. Honestly, that's what it feels like. And it's not only hard emotionally, but it's hard physically too, because you're not in control of your body. And when my eyes start twitching, it puts pressure on my eyes, it put pressure on my head. So it's like, I feel like my head's going to explode. I feel like my head is sometimes I feel like my head is swollen. I feel like I mean my brain. When I say my head, I mean my brain. I feel like my brain is swollen. I feel like oh, this is so hard to describe, but it just doesn't feel like myself. And I feel like it's not only hard emotional, but it's also hard physically. Um and that's just the auras, and that's just the auras that I experience. It's not the actual tonic-clonic. When I know what's happening. Dude, I'm getting so emotional. I'm trying really hard to keep it together, but I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Um, when I'm about to have a tonic-clonic seizure, I know what's going on, and I usually have to use the restroom. I don't know why. It's been like this, I think, for years. I don't know if since I've been diagnosed, but for years I always have to use the restroom right before I have a tonic-clonic, and that's honestly where most of my injuries come from. Like, I hit my head on the tub. I've had stitches under my chin because I hit on the toilet. Um, I locked myself in the bathroom, so we don't lock doors over here no more. Um, yeah, it's oh my gosh. I'm having such a hard time because it's like I'm trying to explain it, but I'm also emotional about it. So, like, I'm sorry, guys. Um, yeah, I I usually have to use the restroom, and um, when that happens, my mom comes with me because my daughter, she won't deal with the epilepsy or the seizures alone. She'll normally call someone. She'll call my mom, or she'll call her dad's side of the family, but or like a friend or whoever. But she won't be by herself dealing with it by herself. So when I have to use the restroom, my mom follows me. My mom follows me into the restroom when she sees that I am twitching a lot, and I tell her I have to use the restroom. She'll follow me in to the restroom with a pillow. And that in itself is embarrassing because I'm a grown woman. I'm going to be 34 in a couple days, in like a week. And my mom has to watch me use the restroom because she's so scared that I am going to hurt myself while I'm in there. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to cry. Because she has to make sure that I'm okay and that I'm safe. So she comes into the restroom with me, and I hate it. I hate that she does it. I understand it. I understand why she's doing it, because she's trying to keep me safe. But it's embarrassing. I don't want my mom to see me use the restroom. Like, that's horrible. But I deal with it because I have no choice. Ugh. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to cry. I really didn't want to cry. I don't like crying in front of people. Ugh. I'm sorry. I'm okay. But yeah, it's an embarrassing thing that I had to experience, and I just deal with it because the alternative is me getting hurt. So what am I supposed to do? I have to let my mom be there for me when I need her. And unfortunately, it's not in the best situations. Sometimes it's absolutely embarrassing situations, like having to use the restroom. Like, I don't want her to see to see me. But yeah, I always had to use the restroom, and then after I use the restroom and I still haven't had a seizure by then, because for me it's weird. It takes a while. Well, at least it feels like a while. It feels like forever before my tonic-clonic seizure actually comes. It feels like I'm twitching for hours. It's probably not like that. When I interview my mom, I'll ask her like about how many minutes, but for me it feels so long before I have a tonic-clonic. I just be twitching like for hours. It feels like it's probably like 5 minutes. And after, if I haven't had a seizure by then, I'm just like, I was just thinking, if I didn't go to the restroom every single time before my tonic clot, I would honestly probably be like having accidents every single time. And I still have accidents sometimes. It's another embarrassing thing about epilepsy is all the accidents. And yeah, I'll go into that. I'll go into that a little bit later, but once I stop using the restroom, I go back to bed, and I try to just sleep it off. Honestly, I try to sleep it off as soon as I don't feel good. I'll go to bed and just try to sleep it off and hope that my seizure doesn't come. My mom says that I do get super stubborn, and sometimes I just want to walk around, and I have done that where I get super stubborn and I pretend like, oh no, I am not having a seizure. I'm not going to have a seizure. Totally fine. Like, you're seeing things, you're delusional. And I go into such a denial about having a tonic-clonic seizure that it honestly, it's so stupid and irresponsible of me, but I just cannot help it. It's just within me. I'm just like, no, I'm not going to have a seizure. I refuse to have a seizure. And it becomes a situation where my mom has to follow me everywhere. Like, she has to, if I'm up and about, she'll be following me like a little toddler just learning how to walk. She's just following, making sure I am okay. And then when there's been times where I'm just over here just walking around, making it so much harder for my mom. And I know why I do it. I know why. I absolutely hate, and I'm going to tell you, I don't hate a lot of things or people, but I absolutely hate with the passion going to the hospital. I hate it. I hate going into the ambulance, and I hate going into the hospital because it's honestly so traumatizing waking up in a, oh my god, I'm gonna cry again. I'm sorry guys, this is just gonna be a mess of an episode. I hate going into the ambulance because it's scary. It's traumatizing to wake up not knowing part of your life. You black out while you're having a seizure. And you just wake up in this place and you're like, how did I get here? I wake up in an ambulance, or I'll wake up in the hospital, and sometimes I'm by myself. Sometimes my mom can't come with me. You know, like during COVID, my mom couldn't come with me. I was all by myself. I woke up and I was just in and out of consciousness. Like, I don't know what's going on. I black out. When I'm having a seizure, I black out. So when you're going through that, you're really trying to piece your life together through other people and asking other people, like, hey, so what happened? Because this is what I remember. And I'm just like, for me to cope with things, I make a lot of jokes. For me to cope with life, I try to see the positive in things and make jokes, and try not to make it seem like it's so serious, even though I know it is. But that's just me coping with with my seizures. I just, because if I really think about it, if I think how horrible it feels to have a seizure, I would drive myself crazy. I would be depressed all the time. I wouldn't be able to function, and I can't live my life like that. I have a daughter, I have to work, I have things that I need to do, and and honestly, I can't. Like, mentally, I wouldn't be able to. It would just be too much for me. Like, no, why, Sam, why? It's okay. Yeah. So when you're, so when I, so I get stubborn. I get so stubborn because I absolutely hate the hospital. I hate going to the ambulance. Like, I'm just there by myself. I'm scared, not truly understanding what's happening, even though I know that I have epilepsy and I've dealt with it for 20 plus years, and I know what it's like, what to expect and all that. When you're in that moment and you're just looking at these strangers around you trying to help you and asking you questions, it becomes overwhelming, and then you're not with your family, because my mom, she always drives to the hospital. She always meets me there. You're by yourself. You're not in a familiar place, so to speak, or a comfortable place where you feel safe, and you realize that, oh snap, I just had another seizure. I just had another tonic-clonic seizure, and now it's like starting all over, because everything I was doing up until then didn't work because I still had a seizure. So I had to reevaluate my life and reevaluate how I'm living my life, and figure out how to do better next time, to make sure that I don't have a seizure next time. And it's like, and it's this constant cycle of having a seizure, reevaluating your life, trying to do better next time, and hoping that you don't have a seizure, and then again you have a seizure. So it's like you have to start from zero all over again, and it's sucks because you feel like nothing's working. You feel like a failure, even though it's not your fault. And you feel like, I see how my family gets. I see how worried they get when I tell them I'm not feeling good. I'm twitching a lot. I see the worried looks, and it breaks my heart that I do that to my family, even though it's not my fault, even though it's not something I can control. It still breaks my heart because I don't want my family to worry about me. I don't want my daughter to worry about me or my loved ones or anyone. I want to be okay where I can just live a normal life and no one has to worry that I am going to hurt myself and I'm going to get injured and there's or it's getting really dark, but or the thought of me passing away from a seizure. Like, I don't want my family to worry about me and think about those things. But when I see my family, um when I know that I'm going to have a tonic-clonic seizure, uh I I start to feel bad too for my family, and I'm going through my own thing, but I'm also thinking about my family, and it's really hard, and it becomes so overwhelming. And waking up at a hospital, knowing that you had a tonic-clonic seizure or a seizure, waking up in a hospital knowing that that your seizures took over again, and it's so depressing and scary, and not being able to always be with someone, because at least at the hospital that I go to, it's super strict. They only allow like one person. My mom's really good at like them letting, I think it's just because I've been there so many times, honestly. um the hospital that I go, they only let one person in, but my mom's really she's really good at them like saying, hey, like, this is her daughter, and her daughter has nowhere to go. Like, she kind of makes it more exaggerated than it needs to be quite honest. She's really good at that. And she's like, she won't let my daughter just sit alone. She'll make it work to where my daughter can come in also. um but yes, I see the looks, and that's honestly that's honestly the last thing I always remember before I have a tonic-clonic seizure, is the look on my family's face when I'm not feeling good. It's it's the worst thing ever. You feel really guilty, and you feel just horrible that you made your family worry. And I really the last thing I remember before waking up in a hospital is that's a horrible way. That's a horrible way to go, honestly. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but that's a horrible way to start your seizure. And I know what happens during my seizure, during my tonic-clonic, because I've seen myself have a video. My daughter recorded a video of me having a seizure so I can show my neurologist, because it's like it was very hard for him to find the proper medication, because no one's really seen me have a seizure except my family and like that one time at school and stuff. But like, it was just hard to get proper treatment, proper diagnosis. So like if you're struggling, I would highly suggest you have someone record you have a seizure so you can show your neurologist, your doctor. I wouldn't recommend you seeing it because it honestly traumatized me. I saw it one time, showed my doctor, and never saw all that video again. I deleted that video. I don't like I don't like seeing myself in that way, so I could only imagine how my family feels. And to be quite honest, I'm going to be 100% with you guys. I don't like seeing people have seizures. I don't like it. It's so hard for me. I'll watch it, but it's something happens to me where I just can't. It's so hard for me to watch. It's because I know what they're going through. So to see someone have a seizure, I just I get really sad, and I start to feel horrible for that person, and then like I start to remember what it's like to have a seizure. So I don't like watching people have seizures. So it's something that, you know, I'll come across, especially since I'm on social media with epilepsy. But it's one of the hardest things that I have to deal with. It puts me in a place where I don't like. It makes me really sad, and I can't do it. Like I get too into it, too empathetic, I guess is the word, because I know what it's like, that it takes me back to a place. This all sounds like PTSD. Maybe I have PTSD, honestly, from seizures. But it honestly takes me back to a place where I remember me having seizures, and it, like, I get super scared and worried, and I just, it's so hard for me to have or to see people have seizures. It's like I don't know how wonderful I would be if I were to see someone have a seizure in person, to be quite honest. I don't I would hope I would help, but it's so hard to see someone, for me personally. Just show all my trauma. Yes, but when you're waking up from a seizure, you are when you're waking up from a seizure, you are realizing that you just had a seizure, but at the same time, you don't know exactly what happened because you black out, or at least I do. So when I see my mom, I am asking her, "So what happened? Like, what did I do?" And she'll tell me, you know, she'll she'll say, "Oh, you're making the noises again, or you screamed." Because apparently, when I'm having my tonic-clonic seizure, I make this really horrible scream, and I make really, like, it's like, I don't want to put it out there, but it's the best way I can describe it, because it's just absolutely not true. But the sound is like if I'm possessed, like that moaning, choking, like barely could breathe kind of noise. That's those are the noises I make. And right before I start shaking, I make this loud scream, and then my body starts contorting in a way where it should not be contorting. I get so stiff and just my body is just like doing things that it shouldn't. And so when I wake up, my mom explains like this is what happened. If I ended up hurting myself, I'll wake up with injuries. I've had, this is probably the worst one. And it's honestly, I'll probably do another episode on that one because that one was scary. But this scar is honestly a reminder of me still being alive because I could have died with the seizure. Yeah, that was scary. That was a scary day. But I'll probably do another episode talking about that one. But that's a lot of people tell me, I should get it lasered or I should put creams or some sort of treatment to kind of diminish the look of the scar. But I don't, because one, I'm not embarrassed of my scar. I don't think it looks bad. And two, it, like I said, it's a reminder that I'm still here. It's a reminder that I'm still alive because I could have died that day. That was scary. So I'm not going to do anything to this scar because when I look at it, I see that I'm still alive because I'm still able to look at the scar. Um, I've had stitches under my chin. This wasn't that as bad as this one. This one I had to get like actual like stitches. This one they did like a glue, that type of stitches, and I don't think you can see it. I can feel it, but I've fallen and hit my head on, in the bathroom, on toilets, on bathtubs, on coffee tables, on the floor. I've gotten so many black eyes. I'm surprised, to be quite honest, that I haven't broken any bones or, chipped any teeth or had like where I had to get stitches in my head. It's always my face. Um, yeah, for the amount of times that I have fallen, I'm surprised that I haven't broken anything, to be quite honest. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. Like, I haven't broken anything. I sprayed my wrist once, but that was me being a kid. I had nothing to do with epilepsy. I wasn't even diagnosed with epilepsy at that time. I'm like, I should celebrate my little victory of not breaking any bones. So yeah, you wake up and you see that you've hurt yourself. You see all the injuries that has happened during that seizure. I always bite my tongue. I always bite my tongue or my cheek. So I will always have blood, dried up blood around my face. And if it's really bad, it'll be on my shirt or whatever, my chest or whatever I'm wearing. But I will always have dried up blood when I wake up. It's rare. It's honestly a rare thing when I don't wake up with dried blood on my face because I always either bite my tongue or my cheek. It's one of those two. And it sucks because if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like to eat. I love to eat. I'm a foodie. I'm definitely a foodie. And when you bite your tongue and you bite your cheek, you can't eat nothing. Everything hurts it. Even talking hurts. So I am quiet until my tongue or my cheek feels better. Sometimes I've bitten both my tongue and my cheek. So like they're just jacked up. They're just jacked up. Yeah, you can't. You can barely eat. You can barely I won't talk if I don't have to, because it's too painful. It hurts so bad. Drinking water hurts. It's not just having seizures. You have to recover from the seizure. And when you're waking up and you're seeing like, oh, I just bit myself, or I have this injury, I have a black eye, you have to, not only rest, but you're treating all the injuries that you got from the seizure. And it sucks. The recovery, I can't do anything for at least 2 days. And what I mean by nothing, I mean that all I do is sleep. That's all I do for about 2 days. That's all I do is just sleep and go to the restroom. I'll try to eat something. I'll try, but it's very hard for me, and I won't eat like my normal self. I'll eat like soft foods and like applesauce or like something like that, or like rice. I won't eat like full on meals. So I'm not even eating after a seizure. Um, I'm like forcing myself to eat. I'm forcing myself to drink water, because if I don't, another seizure can happen. And so for 2 days, I'm just asleep. I am just asleep and trying to feel somewhat normal, or normal to myself, to where it feels like I am myself again. So after I have a seizure, I am out for 2 days. When do I get back to normal? To my normal? I'm gonna guesstimate it's about a week before I actually feel like myself again. It's not right away, because I have to kind of get over everything just happened and all, and I have to deal with all the emotions that came with it. If I have an accident, if I have an accident, that's a whole other level of embarrassment and shame, because I'm a grown woman. I'm gonna be 34 in like a week, so I'm basically 34. And to have accidents at my age, even though I can't control it, you still wake up feeling embarrassed. You still wake up feeling ashamed. You still wake up feeling grossed out by yourself and dirty. And the worst thing is that you can't exactly change yourself and clean yourself up, because you're in and out of conscience. So it's like you're just sitting in your own filth, and it's like, until you're strong enough to actually change and clean yourself up a bit, you're kind of just sitting in your own filth, laying in your own filth. And it's I remember, this is going to be so gross. I don't know if I should tell this story. But I remember, because usually my accidents are just like, just pee. But I remember one time that something else came out. Like, I was so embarrassed. Like, as soon as I woke up and I felt it, I was like, Mom, we gotta go to the restroom. I have to change. I can't be like this. I can't do this. Like, no, like, please. And so, yeah, my mom had to help me change, because I wasn't strong enough, and I was not about to wait. I was not about to wait. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just told that to everybody. But yes, that's epilepsy. you're yeah, it's dirty. And I was embarrassed because my mom, again, she had to come into the restroom with me again and help me change, and you know, like I just threw away my clothes. I just threw them away. But like my mom always has to bring me a change of clothes just in case. Like, oh my goodness, so many things I could say about being embarrassed with epilepsy. Like I remember one time, like, because when I, oh my, this is TMI. This is too much. This is just too much. But I remember one time, because when I'm at home, I don't be wearing bras. They're so uncomfortable. I don't like them. Uh, I'll wear like little bralettes that have no wire and stuff like that. But sometimes I just don't even wear a bra. Like too much information. I'm sorry, but there's been times where I've had a seizure and everything was just flying about. Nothing was controlled. And that is embarrassing. And I wake up finding this out, and then I wake up to those sticky little things, those little heart monitor things and stuff. And I'm like, oh snap. I'm like, I'm not just out here. I'm just out here like undecent with my boobs just hanging out, and I had to, you know, be like this in front of a bunch of strangers. And I don't think they could see anything, but just the thought is embarrassing to me. And then, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna, this is just a random one. But there's times where I'm like hitting on the EMT too. I don't know what I'm doing or saying. So I'm like hitting on the EMTs. I remember one time I was like, dang, this dude he's cute. You know, he wasn't my type, but he was cute. And I told him like, hey, you're cute. While he's over here trying to save my life and make me feel better. And my daughter just looks at me and she starts laughing. She's like, oh my God, Mom. Yeah. I have to laugh at the ridiculous things, because otherwise it would just be sad all the time. I can't. It's just you gotta laugh at some of the things that happen. And honestly, to be quite honest, because me going out in public without a bra is not that embarrassing. Like I see women who go out in public without a bra all the time, you know, even bigger chested women than me. But I find it embarrassing that these people at the hospital saw me without a bra. And it's not like they saw me, like my actual chest. It's just my boobs just out there without a bra, without anything. I don't know. I'm a very conservative person, so it's like I don't want people seeing me or even having like the slightest idea. Like I like to be very covered. But yes, that that things that I shouldn't find embarrassing, I find embarrassing. Like honestly, but I think that's just what you go through with epilepsy, to be quite honest. And yeah. This has been a definite roller coaster of emotions. I go from crying to laughing at myself. But yeah, this I don't know what else to say, to be quite honest. I don't know where to go from here. I just I hope this kind of gives people an insight of like what we go through, and even when we accept our epilepsy, what we continue to go through, because posting on social media about a chronic illness is not easy, because you have to relive those moments every single time. Having a podcast about epilepsy isn't easy. Talking about epilepsy is not easy because you have to relive those moments over and over and over again. And it's emotionally draining. Emotionally draining. So I know for a fact what it's like because I'm living with it every single day, living with epilepsy and talking about epilepsy on social media. And I know that it's so hard to even talk to your loved ones about epilepsy because you don't know if they're going to understand what you're going through and what you're feeling. And you even saying what you're going through is hard. Just getting the words out of your mouth is hard. So I give a lot of credit to the people who talk about it, and honestly, even though it is so hard, it's absolutely so hard. It took me 20 years to be able to get to this place of talking about my epilepsy, sharing embarrassing things about it, posting on social media, having a podcast. It took me 20 years to get to this place where I'm at right now. But I am telling you, it is so worth it. It's so worth it because you feel a sense of relief and you're not holding it in. It's like therapy, to be quite honest. It's a very therapeutic to be able to talk about something that you've been struggling for years or even days or however long you've been diagnosed. Like it's so therapeutic to just talk about it and just release it and not keep it in you for years like I did. I did not ever talk about my epilepsy. Even when people would bring it up, I would change the subject. I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to believe that I have epilepsy, so I lived my life in denial and just pretended like I didn't have epilepsy and everyone was crazy and it's them, not me. But really it's me in all the wrong ways. And so I highly, highly recommend you talking about epilepsy. If you don't want to talk about it, journal, write it down, get it out there, get it out of your heart, get it out of your mind. Just don't keep it inside is the point. And however you want to do it, go to therapy, talk to someone. You guys can DM me. I'm pretty good at responding to people. Sometimes I don't see your messages, but for the most part, I when I see it, I will respond to your message. So, talk to somebody, write it in your journal. Don't keep it inside. Don't be like me. Don't be like me where you're just living in denial and just trying to ignore your epilepsy. Don't be like me. It's I swear to you that it feels so much better when you are talking about your epilepsy, when you are getting it out there and you're not keeping it inside. Because when you keep it inside, you're drowning in your own thoughts, in your own feelings, and you get to a place where you become numb. At least that's what happened to me. So please talk about your epilepsy to somebody, to a journal. Just don't keep it inside. That's my biggest tip. And I hope everyone enjoyed my low-key mental breakdown. Well, not enjoy it, but could relate to it. I don't think anyone's out here like enjoying the fact that I broke down on camera. I just mean like I hope you guys are able to relate and you appreciated the episode, and I hope this gives everyone a bigger insight into what I and the rest of the epilepsy community go through when we are having our seizures and have a better understanding of just how hard it is to live with epilepsy. Like, what, 20? I'm trying to do math in my head when I'm like, what is it, 23 years? 23 years that I've been living with epilepsy. And I've accepted it for 4 years. 4 years now. Yeah, I've found acceptance with epilepsy for 4 years now, and I'm still having these feelings of the trauma that you go through with epilepsy. It's just, yeah. But I hope you guys have a good day and stay safe. Bye, guys.